Let's bring our best efforts to bear.
But party politics is the name of the game at the Capitol, and this governor, like others, will have both fierce supporters and angry critics. While some praise his proposal for cutting the income tax, others call it insignificant.
It's a middle-class tax cut. I think that's exactly what the state of Connecticut needs.
The governor didn't tell us that it only is a $90 savings for every single taxpayer and a $180 savings for every couple. No matter how much you earn, that's all you save.
And tonight, some referred to blue smoke and mirrors, saying the numbers wouldn't balance, and that if approved tomorrow, there would be a deficit by summer.
In fact, I offered to do the budget tomorrow, though, and he was unwilling to do it that quickly.
But what Rowland and all politicians are hearing is the call for tax cuts and spending cuts. But to afford the drop in revenue, big savings are needed, and cuts to programs like welfare will have some staunch opposition.
Why is it we're so willing to turn our back on children who happen to be the product of parents who may not be in a position to take care of them?
This is a budget that reflects what's happening in our neighboring states, New Jersey and its income tax reductions, Massachusetts and its severe welfare cuts. The question is if Connecticut is prepared to move in some of those same directions. Doobie McDowell, Channel 3 Eyewitness News on the Night Beat.
And, of course, it is not only the lawmakers who are reacting to the proposed budget tonight. Allison King spoke with some people who are going to be feeling its effects in their pocketbooks.
Gloria Euchre likes to reflect on her future.
No, I'm very successful. I'm taking care of me and my daughter. I have a house.
The single mother from Meriden receives state welfare, which helps finance her studies to become a paralegal. But her dreams were cut short today as she watched the governor describe his plans for the welfare program.
Benefits will be limited to 18 months, and no additional benefits will be provided for additional children.
Euchre says she's not abusing the system, just trying to make a better life for herself and her daughter.
You got to pay your rent, your utilities. I mean, you can't work at a McDonald's, you know, and try to make sure there's a roof over your head.
Many taxpayers have very little sympathy.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, the welfare program was put there to help people, not to support people.
Most taxpayers are more concerned about the tax cuts.
Cutting taxes always sounds good, but you know how that works. They're always going to up them anyway.
State employees have the same concern, and they say the cut in their benefits will ultimately lower the standard of living for all of Connecticut's workers, public and private.
And it comes with a disguise in the form of a tax break, which probably is going to be, in reality, a shifting of the burden back to the local communities, which will probably have an impact on the property taxes.
Of course, the governor's budget still needs to be passed by the House and the Senate, and if tonight's reaction is any indication, there are still plenty of battles yet to fight before it receives its final stamp of approval. At the state capitol, Allison King, Channel 3 Eyewitness News on the Night Beat.
Well, after the Rowland speech tonight, we asked you for your opinion about the governor's budget proposals, and we received an awful lot of responses over the computer email, the fax line, and over the phone, too.
For a look at some of your responses, we joined Channel 3 Sean Comey in the Eyewitness News Data Center. Sean.
Well, Denise and Al, this certainly isn't a scientific survey, but Governor Rowland has the support of most taxpayers who contacted us here at the Eyewitness News Data Center. By about a 3-to-1 margin, our viewers say they back the governor's plan to cut spending and lower taxes.
I think John Rowland's budget is super.
And I'm his wife, and I agree.
Super, super, super.
Most people who called our voicemail system weren't quite as enthusiastic, but many liked what they heard from the governor.
I just retired. I was ready to move to Florida because I couldn't afford to pay such a high tax under the present tax system. And I think it's great. I think I'll remain in Connecticut.
But the devil, as they say, is in the details. Over America Online, Andres Nieves writes, I hope that the state tax cut doesn't mean a rise in property taxes as it did in New Jersey. Several viewers felt the cuts are a step in the right direction. On Prodigy, J.L. Lawrence writes, it's expensive to live and thrive here due to the state's failure to keep spending in check and operate efficiently. It is time for a reality check. Tim Costello echoes that sentiment on CompuServe. Business taxes, he writes, should be competitive with other surrounding states. This would provide the needed competition to bring business to the state. But some viewers think the tax cut isn't anything to get excited about.
I think Governor Rowland's tax cut is a joke. For a single person, a 1.5% decrease on $6,000 would equal a $90 savings. That's not really anything to get the economy jump-started.
Over the fax line, Joanna Spezial has a darker vision of the future under a Rowland budget. He proposes an 18-month limit to welfare recipients, but doesn't talk about what happens to these people once they are not being given any monetary support. I guess they will become inmates at the prisons. No wonder the prisons will need more staff. So while everyone is not quite ready to jump on the budget bandwagon, out of the hundreds of responses that we received, this fax pretty much sums it up. Bill Fisher Enterprises says, as a small business